Plainmore. He was involved in an off-the-ball clash with one of the Premiership side's international stars, promoting the threat of disciplinary action. Trina Lake reports.
The incident happened early in the second half when there was a clash between Gittins and Romanian star Florin Radicioiu. West Country Television's exclusive pictures clearly show that Gittins' arm made contact with the £1.5 million West Ham player's face. Gittins, who signed a 2-year contract with Torquay just hours before kick-off, was taken off as Hammers manager Harry Redknapp threatened to report him to the FA. Torquay will study video evidence before deciding on any action, but Chairman Mike Bateson says the club take a serious view of such matters in the light of the challenge that ended the career of former United player John Uzel. Last night's incident overshadowed a marvellous 3-2 win for Torquay against a West Ham side packed with international talent. Winger Ian Hathaway was star of the show with 2 terrific goals.
One or two surprises this time around, as Jeff Welsh reports.
Last season's trials and tribulations have been well documented. The good news is that Torquay United have retained their 69-year league status, and perhaps surprisingly for a side that finished bottom of the table, there seems to be a general feeling of optimism at Plainmore these days.
Looking at the pre-season friendlies so far, the signs are good. Wasn't all that stiff opposition, except West Ham and Portsmouth. We drew and we beat West Ham, so I think we're going to get something out of this season.
This season, it's all change at Plainmore. Kevin Hodges has moved into the newly created post of head coach, and his management team is made up of the former Plymouth players Gary Nelson and Steve McCall.
The experiences I've had whilst I've been in football, if you're happy within your environment, you look forward to getting up in the mornings, coming in training, it's bound to have an effect on your team performance on a Saturday. And these are some of the things that we've been working at. I've had the advantage that I've got Gary Nelson and Steve McCall beside me, and they've been tremendous help to me. And the three of us, I feel, have, like I say, laid the foundations, and hopefully we'll benefit from it.
If Torquay are going to prosper, their faith in experience will have to pay off. 4 players are over 30, including assistant coach Gary Nelson. He's the best-selling author of Left Foot Forward, a book that gives an account of a typical season while at Charlton.
I think it struck a raw nerve with a lot of people, certainly supporters of the game, that know year in, year out that we all start the season with that expectation in the air and the optimism. And then as the season unfolds, it's, oh, here we go again, it's just another year like all the other years. And when you're playing, it's a little bit like that as well. You come in on pre-season and you're full of fire and vim, and you want to really go, and it doesn't quite work out that way. You get some injuries along the way, you lose a bit of form, the team struggle, and you know, another year slips by before you know where you are. You've had 17 years, and of those, 4 have been worth doing cartwheels over.
On the playing side, there's been a number of new arrivals at Plainmore during the summer. Player coach Steve McCall has shown in the pre-season friendlies that even at 35 he's still got what it takes to play in the 3rd division. Experienced goalkeeper Rhys Wilmot looks to have been an important free transfer signing from Crystal Palace, and Paul Mitchell and Paul Adcock should both fit in well. New signings, together with an impressive pre-season, have not surprisingly put Torquay supporters in a relatively upbeat mood.
They've got good prospects. They're going to be well up the league this year, well up the league.
The difference is so noticeable in the playing, the way that they arrive at training, they're bouncing, they're full of it. And being the groundsman here at the same time, I tend to notice these things.
Right, those are the only 2 I've got.
In the end, success, or the lack of it, will probably come down to how much Chairman Mike Bateson can afford to plough into the club should the side pick up injuries or have a bad spell.
I've got to say, in the last year or so, I haven't physically put any cash in. I've increased the overdraft, which I guarantee, so I suppose it's the same difference. But apart from, I went a little bit haywire with the spending towards the end of last season to try and avoid finishing bottom, which with hindsight was a pretty silly thing to do. But apart from that, I would say it's under control.
Why do you do that then? Why don't you just keep your money and spend it on a holiday or something like that?
Well, the beauty of being involved with Torquay United on a full-time basis is I haven't got time for holidays. So it's a great way of saving money in that respect.
It looks like Torquay have turned the corner. When you come to Plainmoor these days, the thing that strikes you is that the enthusiasm generated by the new coaching trio seems to be rubbing off on the players. A reasonable side might do well in the third division this season, and who knows, Torquay United could have the qualities it takes to become that reasonable side.
So, quiet confidence down at Plainmoor, but he's put them in.
And confidence was certainly high when John Gittins scored from a perfectly worked free kick. Lincoln also know what it's like to finish bottom, and they responded with an equally effective set piece, the ball switching from one side of the penalty area to the other, and the goal struck by Gareth Ainsworth. The South Coast sunshine must have left Barbadian Rodney Jack feeling very much at home, and all those training sessions on the beaches paid dividends when he twisted and turned to spark Caribbean-style celebrations with what proved the winning goal. Martin Dean.
The season.
If Torquay can reproduce their Plainmoor form at Bristol City tomorrow, they could spring a cup upset. They outplayed an injury-hit Exeter side, with Rodney Jack scoring the first after less than 2 minutes, and Paul Baker adding the second to continue his impressive start to the new campaign. Exeter go to Barnet tomorrow with a near impossible 4-goal deficit to claw back. Manager Peter Fox may well be tempted to experiment ahead of Saturday's trip to Cardiff. To be a great...
Torquay got the season off to a dream start when Rodney Jack scored this late winner against Lincoln. The Gulls followed it with an impressive 3-3 draw against Bristol City in the Coca-Cola Cup. Paul Baker kept the match ball after scoring a hat-trick, but must have felt disappointed the second division side had been allowed back into the tie after trailing 3-1. Torquay's first defeat of the season was inflicted by the only goal of the game at Scunthorpe, but the Gulls bounced back to register their first away point in a 1-1 draw at Northampton. The result was more impressive when you consider they only managed a meagre 8 points on their travels throughout the whole of the 1995-96 season. Last weekend, old rivalries were renewed at Plainmoor as Torquay comprehensively beat Exeter 2-0. Paul Baker once again got on the score sheet, raising United's hopes of causing a possible cup upset at Bristol City. But hopes were all they proved to be, as Torquay lost 1-0 on the night, 4-3 on aggregate.
Stadium, Kevin Hodges and his Torquay team hoping to continue the impressive start to the season that took them into 5th place before kick-off against Cambridge.
This will hardly go down as the most memorable of debuts for Torquay's experienced goalkeeper Rhys Wilmot. Despite this early chance from Rodney Jack, the Gulls always looked uncomfortable at the Abbey Stadium, and they never fully recovered from a double strike by Scott McLeish, the Cambridge player putting the home side in front after just 5 minutes. Torquay hardly threatened in the first half, their best chance this effort by Steve Winter. A dreadful mistake by John Gittins allowed McLeish in for his second goal. No chance for Wilmot, and with just 31 minutes gone, it looked as if the Gulls were heading for a drubbing. But Torquay looked a more positive outfit after the break, and Jack, who was being watched by a clutch of Premiership scouts, was unlucky not to pull a goal back. Their more confident approach finally paid dividends when great work from Gary Nelson produced this finish by Paul Baker, who just keeps coming up with the goods. His 6th goal of the season came on 71 minutes and set up an interesting finale. But unfortunately for the Gulls, it was a case of too little, too late.
So, disappointment then for Kevin Hodges and his team. We'll see how that result affects Torquay's position at the Torquay's exclusive goals roundup.
What a difference a few months make. Last season, Torquay won only 4 home league games. They made it 3 from 3 this season against Cardiff City. John Gittins got the opening goal in this 2-0 victory, but Jamie Undar stole the headlines with a memorable performance after returning to the side following a knee injury. His persistence finally paid off just before the break with this clinical finish.
At the top match against Chester, a great win in midweek for Kevin Hodges' team, and another 3 points yesterday would lift them even closer to the top of the table. Our commentator, Martin Dean.
Well, another glorious afternoon here at Plainmoor, which is becoming something of a fortress for Torquay United. Their 3 league games here so far have all resulted in home victories. Well, they could face a tough task this afternoon against an experienced-looking Chester lineup. Oh, they're getting it away. Now Watson inside for McCall. As always is just prompting at the centre of things, finding Ndar. Otway getting it through for Nelson. Chance here. And, well, slightly unorthodox from Neil Cutler, but effective nevertheless. And Nelson just finding himself with a yard or so of space in the box. Shot towards the near post. Didn't really quite succeed in fooling Neil Cutler. McCall with the corner. Moved in towards the near post this time. Comes for Nelson. Now McCall again. Chip towards the far post. Lee Barrow with a header. And Barrow missing the target, which of course is always the cardinal sin. But a good build-up from Torquay. And in the middle. So too is Charlie Otway, and Ndar, rather Paul Baker ignoring them all. And a shot curled not too far away from that post. McCall with the corner. Aimed towards Baker. And a good save in the end from Neil Cutler. Just under a little bit of pressure on his goal line. But Paul Baker getting up well for the header. Just looking as if he was going to squeeze it under the crossbar. Cutler taking it very cleanly. Aimed towards Gary Nelson. Nelson just looking to hold it up and find a bit of support, which he gets from Steve Winter. Good run this from Winter. Pulled back for Scott Stamps. Stamps laying it off for Baker. Baker with the shot. Good save. Off the bar. And in fact, I think the linesman's flag was up against Steve Winter. He got the final shot in against the crossbar. But certainly, if Paul Baker's shot had gone in, that one would have counted. Richardson finding Flitcroft. Now Noteman. Same forward for Stuart Rimmer. Rimmer with a chance here. Oh, and just wide of that far post. Well, I think the Torquay players were expecting an offside flag. It didn't come. And Stuart Rimmer, who's been a deadly marksman over the years for Chester, presented with a good chance. Just pushing it wide of Ray Newland's right-hand post. Winter floating the ball in. Gittings with a header. What a bad effort from John Gittings. Good floated free kick from Steve Winter. Just getting underneath the ball a little. Not really looking as if he was going to trouble Neil Cutler and Julie. Richardson pumping it forward for Rimmer to chase. He's got away from Alex Watson. And now Fisher, whose first act is to be brought down. And that I think will possibly be a yellow card for Steve Winter. Shelton leaving the free kick for Fisher, who really thumps it in towards that near post. Newland was down well. He didn't want to get it away, really. And it was one of those free kicks that can be very deceptive. Whipped in towards the near post. And Newland getting down just to palm it away.
It was a tricky day. It was very, very hot, and you know, there was a lot of commitment and effort from both sides. Made it very, very difficult for each other. But from my point of view, you know, we competed and we kept going. Like I say, we had our chances to win the game, but unfortunately we didn't put them away today. But we kept a clean sheet, defended well, and we've got a point out of it. And if I look back at last season, which I don't particularly want to do, but that was one of the games we could well have lost. So from my point of view, I think it was a good point for us today.
And we'll see how that result affects Torquay. Wilson returning with Torquay United to face one of his former clubs, Brighton. Victims, of course, for Exeter last week. Jeff Welsh reports.
Torquay United went into this match looking for their first away league win of the season. The goals started off in optimistic fashion. Jamie Undar almost put them one up inside the opening minute, and then Gary Nelson was presented with a golden opportunity to score his 150th league goal against one of his former clubs. Nelson should have done a lot better, and if that was annoying, imagine how Torquay head coach Kevin Hodges must have felt when Paul Baker failed to capitalise on this. 3 reasonable chances, all gone begging, with just over 10 minutes gone on the clock. It looked as if it was going to be one of those afternoons. A feeling reinforced when defending like this allowed the former Plymouth Argyle player Ian Baird to put the home side one up. A great finish, but John Gittins must feel annoyed he decided the fancy footwork option was required in his own half. If this was last season, Torquay may well have thrown in the towel, but the goals provided yet more evidence of their new fighting qualities with an impressive comeback. Steve McCall set up Paul Baker for the equaliser. How about that for a finish? McCall, not content with just setting the goals up, decided to get in on the act himself. The Torquay celebrations gave an indication that with 27 minutes gone, they felt an elusive away win now looked a real possibility. The second half was just as full of incident. Jeff Minton sneaked in to put Brighton on level terms, and at 2-2 the match was set for an interesting finale. But it was Torquay who had the chance to grab all 3 points. Gary Nelson was the player fouled by Jeff Minton, the scorer of Brighton's second goal, and Paul Baker must have thought the moment had arrived to seal that first away league win. Unfortunately, the wait will have to be a little bit longer.
I can't seem to score a goal at the moment. I think whether it's psychologicals, they only need one for the 150, I don't know, but I'm going to give a bit of credit to the keeper because he came out very quickly and he cut down on the angle very quickly. I tried to just clip it over him and it just caught the top of his arm. And, you know, one of those slipped away. It's the way it's going for me a little bit in front of goal at the moment. We had a couple of injuries today which disrupted the pattern. And I said credit to Brighton. They came at us strongly in the second half and, you know, they probably just about deserved the draw.
And we'll take a look at the third division table right at the end of the programme. Well, we're off to Underhill
Bowl at Plainmoor last night. A crowd of just over 700 turned up for the rather drab affair.
Perhaps more worrying for both sides was the number of players that got injured. Exeter's manager Peter Fox is struggling to field a side for Saturday's league game with Cambridge after 6 of his players picked up knocks. And Torquay head coach Kevin Hodges has a goalkeeping crisis. Rhys Wilmot cut his face in this incident. And with first choice Ray Newland already carrying an injury, it's not known yet who'll play against Carlisle. And just to add to Torquay's problems, Rodney Jack is another casualty. He was injured playing for St Vincent in a World Cup qualifier against Mexico.
Well, thankfully, Torquay and former Plymouth player Steve McCall is fit enough for tonight's visit to the West Country Soccer School.
A chance for Torquay to turn on the style and reinforce their claims to be genuine promotion candidates. Our commentator for yesterday's game against Carlisle, Martin Dean.
Well, it may seem as if these two teams are poles apart geographically, but they've been enjoying a remarkably similar success in recent weeks. Carlisle looking to extend a 5-match unbeaten run this afternoon, while Torquay will be looking to make it 4 games without defeat. Torquay forced into a couple of changes because of injury problem. Ray Newland and Paul Mitchell have been ruled out. Rhys Wilmot and Steve Winter are the men to replace them. It's one of those replacements. Steve Winter takes the throw. Game return from McCall. Thomas making the challenge. And showing nice skills. Nelson with the ball forward. Nelson will do well to keep it in play. And the verdict is a goal kick, in fact. Okay, with the goal kick. Way underneath it. Now Nelson. Little knock down for McCall. Flick on was from Baker. Warning was in the way. McCall again. And Stamps getting it forward towards Undar. Played away by Varty. Now Funabashi. Deacon with the long ball forward. Out by John Gittings. Deacon again pumping it forward. This time Watson will hook it clear. And finding McCall. Middle ball for Baker. Now Stamps. Looking to play the return to Baker. Might get to him yet. In fact, it's Varty who brings it away. And Peacock is onside. Thomas is arriving in the middle. Support 2 from Reeves. This is Hayward with the shot. Oh, neat build-up from Carlisle. The ball eventually fed back to Steve Hayward. As if he was trying to pick his spot, but picked the wrong one if that's the case. Wide of the target. Now Thomas. Need to carve out a bit of space for himself and doing very well. Rod Thomas with a shot right across the face of the goal. Well, not getting his hands to it. Just as well he did. Rod Thomas showing lovely skills. Nelson. Looking to get towards the byline. As well to get the cross in. Craig is struggling. Baker, oh, against the underside of the bar. Well, how close can you get? Superb move from Torquay United, which really deserved a goal. Gary Nelson doing very well to get to the byline. Cross eluding Tony Craig. And Baker coming in at the far post, volleying the ball against the underside of the bar. Away to safety. This is Thomas. Deacon in the middle. Hayward and Reeves there as well. Thomas just looking to flick the ball in towards Hayward, who'd made the run. Came off Alex Watson for the corner. Hayward then with the corner. Towards that far post. Reeves with the header. And David Reeves has done what Carlisle have been threatening to do for a little while now. And scored from the corner. Well, I'm afraid the writing had been on the wall once or twice before from the set pieces. This time it was Hayward's cross towards the back post. And David Reeves, the Carlisle captain, getting up to head past Rhys Wilmot. Coming through towards Reeves again. Now Archdeacon. Reeves. Carried out of it by Hawthorne. Finds Archdeacon well. Chance for him to get a cross in this time. And that's number 2, Steve Hayward. Well, 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. And that will surely steer Carlisle towards the 3 points, as Torquay can stage a dramatic revival. And Archdeacon with a cross, and Hayward arriving bravely with a header, just putting it beyond the reach of Rhys Wilmot. Looking to hack it forward, put out by Archdeacon though. And Barrow. McCall. Move forward for Gary Nelson. Cox will leave it for Lee Barrow. Long throw aimed in towards Paul Baker. Does well to get the flick on. Hawthorne with a shot. Still the ball not cleared. Baker! And that's 2-1. Paul Baker getting his 7th goal of the season. Will it be a little too late for Torquay? Well, Baker involved in that move really right from the outset. Flick on from the header. Hawthorne's shot blocked. The second effort, though, coming through to Baker. Manages to score with the shot on the turn. There goes the final whistle from Clive Wilkes. And the Torquay, for all their endeavour, undone by a stylish-looking Carlisle side. It's finished Torquay United 1, Carlisle United 2.
I think that we've been more than a match for most of the sides that we've played. The last two home games we've played Chester and Carlisle, two very, very good sides. They've tested us. Perhaps we might have come out the two games with 4 points and we've got one, but every manager in the Football League is going to be talking about the points that should have been. We have to get on with our work on Monday, and we've got two very, very, very tough games coming up in the week. So, you know, it could be a difficult week for us, but the lads have shown excellent attitude, and I'm sure we'll be back to business on Tuesday night.
So that defeat means that Torquay dropped down to 11th spot in Division 3, 12 points from their 9 games so far. As they hope for
first ever at Fulham took them to the verge of the playoffs. Rob Scott, though, volleyed the home side into the league.
But it was to be Gary Nelson's night, his 150th
goal coming from Lee Barrow's missile-like throw. Torquay's assistant coach also struck the winner just 7 minutes from time. Amid the celebrations, Paul Baker, who couldn't get on the score sheet in his last game before moving to Scunthorpe. To home.
And yesterday they made a quick return, sadly without leading scorer Paul Baker, who made that move to Scunthorpe on Thursday. Following United's progress at Barnet, Jeff Welsh.
This was one of those matches that could hardly be described as a classic. Both sides had few chances, and to be fair, a draw always looked on the cards. Last season, the Gulls would have been more than satisfied at picking up points at places like Barnet, but this time around, Torquay have become a useful outfit on their travels. Tuesday night's win at Fulham had set the Gulls up nicely for their second encounter in the capital, and Charlie Oatway gave an early warning that Torquay meant business. Gary Nelson, the two-goal hero in midweek, was the instigator of what should have been the opening goal. His great work on the right was nicely executed by Scott Stamps. On another day, Torquay might have found themselves one up. Perhaps the signs were beginning to show that this was going to be one of those afternoons. The second half followed a similar script to the first. Torquay always looked comfortable, but very rarely threatened. The Gulls looked useful in midfield, but seemed to lack a killer instinct up front. Ian Hathaway produced the best of the second half efforts. A fingertip save from Mike Taylor denying the Torquay forward. The home side staged a late revival. Sean Devine forced this save from Rhys Wilmot, but in the end, Wilmot's effort wasn't required, and Devine was pulled up for offside. The London side came close towards the end, and Torquay, with the 6th away league point of the season in their grasp, had a bit of a worrying moment when Linvoy Primus almost broke the deadlock. So a game finished in a goalless stalemate, but the Gulls can feel more than pleased that their revival continues.
Well, Torquay is still in the top third of the table. They retain 8th position, 8 points behind the leaders Carlisle and Fulham. Well, I hope you enjoyed the programme. I'll be back at near the top of the table. A pretty good start so far for Kevin Hodges and his team, and it was Hereford who provided the latest opposition. Our man of the match, Jeff Welsh.
Torquay side shows one change from the team that drew at Barnet last week. Steve McCall returns from injury. He comes in for Mark Hawthorne, who's on the bench. Torquay on somewhat of an impressive run. They picked up 4 points from their last 2 away games. By contrast, Hereford, who've yet to win away from home, include the former Plainmoor favourite, Adrian Foster. Can Law emulate his first attempt? Not bad at all. Still not cleared. Well, it's gone in, it's sneaked in. And in the end, it looked as if it took a little bit of a deflection. Lee Barrow, it was, who bundled the ball past Rhys Wilmot. And Hereford have taken a first-minute lead. The ball wasn't cleared. A very soft shot, should have been cleared. Hathaway with the corner. Not bad at all. Dupont, though, good push. Here comes McCall. Gittins goes in there. Hathaway, not a bad cross at all. Under. Well, would you believe it? Action-packed opening couple of minutes here at Plainmoor. McCall, great ball by McCall. Under, he's got Nelson in the middle. Winter alongside him, not a bad cross. Here's a chance for Nelson. Well, Nelson should have put that one away. Gary Nelson just with Andy Dupont to beat. He seemed to have done the hard work by controlling it, but his shot, well, the less said, the better. Well headed on by Watson. Here comes McCall. What a great save by Andy Dupont. A nice throw-in, headed on by Alex Watson. A thunderous save. Well stopped by Andy Dupont. Under. No, he won't get to that one. Well, the wind seemed to blow it backwards. Hargreaves, nice little bit of control. It wasn't controlled by Marnie. Here's Winter. Good ball to Nelson. Good cross, here's Under. Well taken out of the air by Andy Dupont. Nelson goes in. Nelson looks to me as if he'd been brought down, but that's a goal! Alex Watson it is, who's equalised. And Torquay have delivered the killer blow just before the break. Gary Nelson initially looked as if he'd been brought down. Some of the Torquay players were appealing. The crowd behind the goal thought it was a penalty. The referee waved play on. And there was Captain Marvel, Alex Watson, to slot that ball home. McCall. Nelson, in the thick of it, Gary Nelson. Good cross. Here's a chance for Under! Well, Under should have buried that one. Good ball to Gittins. Under. He's got Steve Winter behind him. It's Winter who gets the ball. Side to Gittins. Gittins his first touch there, letting him down. Hathaway. Looks so confident on the ball, does Hathaway. Here's a chance for Gittins. Well, a chance created from virtually nothing. Under. McCall. Nelson. Still Nelson. Here's Winter. Great header, great finish. Torquay 2-1 up. And Steve Winter delivers a superb finish created by Gary Nelson. Textbook stuff. Gary Nelson it was who broke away. Lovely cross, but what about that for a header? Law. Hargreaves is there. Good effort by Hargreaves and well taken by Rhys Wilmot. Here's Rodney Jack. Chance for Jack to make a name for himself. He's got Charlie Oatway inside. Oatway collects the ball. Chance for a shot. Nelson. Not a bad effort from Nelson. Here's Winter. Good shot! Brilliant save. Can Jack get in on this? Here's a chance. No, well, Steve Winter, terrific shot. And there goes the final whistle.
It was a great result for us. We had a team meeting on Friday to sort of say how important today's game was. You know, with all the good work that we've done away from home at Fulham and Barnet, it would have been disappointing to come back home and lose points. And the lads, you know, have responded very, very well. Naturally, very disappointed the way we started because we wanted to sort of dictate the pace of the game and take the game to Hereford. We didn't start well and conceded an early goal, which was very disappointing. But to the lads' credit, you know.